We're going to be talking about chromosomal structure and function in this video. A chromosome is a long strand of DNA that carries genes. A gene is a segment of a strand of DNA, and that segment will code for a protein. And that protein is going to be what indicates a trait. So genes are information about a trait, and that trait is produced by the protein that DNA segment says to make. But DNA is not usually in the form of chromosomes. Chromosomes are a very special structure that only appears when we're getting ready to divide. Most of the time, DNA is in the form of chromatin, which is this loose spaghetti structure here. And the way that's formed is we take the DNA double helix and we wrap it around specialized proteins called histones. Those further coil up until we get something like this, and that's what creates those noodly looking things here in the nucleus. But if you've ever been eating spaghetti and wanted to get the exact same number of noodles on everyone's plate, you might understand how difficult it is to divide up chromatin, which is where chromosomes come in. Chromosomes are a super condensed form of DNA. We've taken this spaghetti structure, further wrapped it and coiled it until we get what we call a chromosome. And this is what allows us to easily divide DNA during meiosis or mitosis. So this is just another look at this so you can kind of see how all of these fit together. Again, we have that X-shaped chromosome that's supercoiled DNA. That coil is made by these supercoils that are coils of this coil that are coils of these coils all the way down to our DNA double helix. So, what is chromosomal anatomy? So, first, we have the two sides of the chromosome. Each side is called a chromatid. When we're talking about the two of them, we call them sister chromatids. So these are both sister chromatids. Each side is a chromatid. Then we have the arms, and we have the centromere where the two chromatids are connected. And then we have the telomere, which is the end of a chromosome arm. Now, in organisms like humans, our DNA comes in what we call homologous pairs or homologs. A homologous pair is a pair of chromosomes that have the same length, like these do right here. They have the same centromere position, so their centromere's in the same spot. And then they have the same banding pattern. And that's what I'm going to use this picture right down here because you can see the bands. And a band, that stripe that you see here, that is really just a gene that has been colored differently. So we can isolate a gene by coloring it, and that's how we get these striped patterns. That stripe can be about hair color or eye color, but they should be in the same place on the chromosome. Now, where did we get these pairs? Well, each parent donates one copy of each chromosome. So we got one version of our chromosomes from our mom and one chromosome of each type, each pair, from our dad. And they can have different versions of the same gene. So if we're talking about these homologous pairs down here, maybe this is hair color, and my mom donated a gene for blonde hair, and my dad donated a gene for brown hair. So we got different versions of the same genes. When we go through DNA replication, we make a copy of every single version of every single chromosome. So I have both copies of my chromosomes from mom, both copies of my chromosome from dad. In future videos, I'm going to make sure that I use the term version when I'm talking about what your mom and dad donate to a future offspring, because I feel like it can get kind of confusing if we say copies when we're talking about homologous pairs, instead of reserving the term copy for what we get after replication. So I'm going to say version mom, version dad, and then I'll refer to these as copies of version mom and version dad when we need to talk about all of them. Humans have 23 pairs. We have 22 pairs of autosomes, which are chromosomes that code for our bodily traits. And then we have a pair of sex chromosomes. The sex chromosomes can come in XX and XY. XX indicates female, and XY indicates male. So, each pair is going to be paired up in a picture we call a karyotype. And I'm going to talk about the rest of this stuff on a karyotype picture. This is a karyotype. We have each pair of chromosomes arranged by length from tallest to shortest, and then we have our sex chromosomes down here. We have XY, which means we have a male. We have also updated this technology. We can now do sky karyotyping, which means we can show the bands in color. But the reason I wanted to show you this picture is because of this right here. This is a picture of the nucleus with chromatin. You can see how jumbled that nucleus looks, and it would be very hard to divide that like that. So the chromosomes are essential for dividing information between the daughter cells equally. And you can also see what a female looks like with the matching pair of XX chromosomes down here for these sex chromosomes. This has been a very quick talk about chromosomal structure, and it's just very important that you understand the importance of chromosomes for dividing and how their genes that are located on each chromosome are going to come into play in later parts of our genetics discussion this semester.